It's Stacy from Bluebird Paper and Thread. How are you today? Today is Saturday, January 7th. Had a really great week, although I did have to go back to work. That was a bummer. But I had a good week. I hope you all had a good week too. I've got quite a few new starts. I did attempt to do the New Year's Eve 12 by 12 start. I did not quite get to 12, but I did have a good time with what I did do. So I'm going to show that to you. And I have a little bit of a haul, and I think that's about it. Let's get started. I'm going to start with my first new start. This is cookie cutter ornaments. Hold on. Cookie cutter ornaments by It's So Emma and the Fat Quarter Shop. I love these little ornaments. They work up to be about 3 inches. I haven't finished one, but I've got all the things to finish it. I was hoping to get some of these done before Christmas, and of course that didn't happen. So for this one, this is one of the ones I started on New Year's Eve for the 12 by 12. And this is how far I got. I'm doing the bow first. I think that's the first one in the pattern book, so I just decided to start at the beginning. So I'm kind of excited to see how this one goes. With the 12 by 12, we were supposed to start one new pattern every hour from noon on New Year's Eve until midnight. And I did not get to that. I got a late start because I was buying a floss, 57 skeins of DMC to start my some of my new patterns that I had got and didn't have all the flosses for. So I got a little bit of a late start, but anyways, I am doing the called for colors. I did get the thread pack from them, and it's the classic Colorworks. And so they're, you know, really pretty, kind of excited. So that is number 1. My thought is perhaps what I'll do is try to work on a little bit of Christmas every month. I know some people do once like every 25th of the month. Some people do that 3rd or 4th week of the month. I'm not sure I'm going to get that detailed. I don't know that I like that much structure when I'm stitching, but I would like to touch something for the holidays, Christmas in particular, once or twice a month, and see if I can't get a little bit further along in my holiday stitching. I know some people stitch for the holiday, during the holiday. I think I'm preferring to stitch before the holiday, like a month or 2 before the holiday, so that maybe I can have an actual fully finished object by that holiday. So that is the goal. The second one that I started was Strawberry Faire by October House Fiber Arts. Again, with the bird. Gotta have a bird. And I like the strawberries. They're kind of speaking to me this season. Strawberries and lemons and the color yellow. This one, it called for 30 count baby's breath linen by Weeks Dye Works. And I didn't have that. So I opted to try a different fabric, and I went way outside the box on this one. I did a Fortnight fabric, 36 count linen, and it's called, the color is A Long, Long Time Ago. And this is it. Can't see. It's kind of a mottled purple color. This one I actually started twice. I started twice. Sorry about that. I realized the lighting wasn't very good. You couldn't really see the stitching very well. So I'm trying to reconcile that right now. I don't know if this is going to be any better, but this is my start. And in fact, I had to start it twice because I started with this bottom line here, this bottom row, and I did one thread over two, and you could see it, but it really didn't pop off. And then when I came back to it to stitch this limey chartreusey color, I think I loaded my needle up with 2 threads and it looked better. So I removed all of that line and I started over with 2 threads, and I'm very happy with it so far. I think it's going to be beautiful when it's done. I worked on this, and then I did it as a WIP later in the week too. I worked on it for a little bit later in the week. So there's that one. I am using called for DMCs. So when you put it up against the fabric, these are the called for DMCs. I know some of them are on bobbin, some of them aren't. So it's just the way it goes. So this is Strawberry Faire. It'll be fun to see how it completely works up when I get to that big strawberry on that fabric. That seems kind of fun. My next WIP, or I'm sorry, new start for the 12 by 12 is Winter Garden by Hello from Liz Mathews. I know several people are stitching this right now. When I saw the pattern, I fell in love with it. I love it. So I decided to start it with the 12 by 12. I was hoping that by participating in it this time, even though I wasn't completely prepared for it, that it would encourage me to get some of these cool things finished. The called for thread is 40 count Bramble by Picture This Plus. I did not have that, so I am using Artichoke, a 28 count Artichoke by Wichelt. So it's just got a very light greenish cast to it. It's not bad though. I like it. And that's how much I got done. This one I also picked up, oops, I'm sorry, it goes a little bit further. This one I did pick up again also on the as a work in progress later in the week too. I did a little bit more of the border. I am not one, I used to, when I was stitching a long time ago, I would stitch around the border first or even last, and I would get really frustrated because they often didn't meet up, and I'd have to rip stuff out, or I would have to finagle it to make it work, or you know, whatever the situation is. And so I've started this go around. When I've started, I try to do just a little bit of the border as I go, because that seems to be a little bit easier for me to manage and make sure that my stitching stays lined up. So that's how I kind of tackle borders. This one, however, it's pretty straightforward and it's a very simple pattern, and you get into a rhythm. And I just figured if I can finish that and it meets up, great. And then I can just focus on the fun fill-in. Next, I started Harietta and Company by With Thy Needle and Thread. I bought this as a kit, I think, last year through Fat Quarter Shop. So it came with the called for fabrics, and I did buy the thread pack as well. I find, even though it is, actually I did the DMC thread pack, so they have a conversion paper in there, so how to convert it to like what color, what symbol and what color goes is the conversion for DMC. I do enjoy this one. I find that when I'm buying something, especially from Fat Quarter, if I can buy the fabric and the floss, even though I might have some of the colors already in my stash. I tend to do that because it's a little easier. You don't have to do it that way, of course. It does cost a little bit more when you do it that way. But for me, and right now at this stage in my life, it's just easier. And that's my start. This one is being stitched on, let's see if I can find it. Winter Brew 36 count by R&R Reproductions. I like getting the fabric in the kit form because they give you so much more fabric than what you need. I mean, look at this. How many projects am I going to be able to do on this? I'm really excited about it. So, so I did that start. This one was a fun one. I'm excited to get that done. Hopefully a fully finished object before Easter. Easter's in April, so it gives me a little bit more time this year, so that's good. And then, of course, the DMC floss pack. These are all the colors. They're really pretty. Pull out the fabric again. So these are all the floss colors, and I'm doing 2/2. So that is Harietta and Company. I think I wound up with 7 new starts on New Year's Eve because I got a late start, and then of course, you know, you have to eat, and I don't know, kids were coming in and out, or I don't know, there were distractions. My next one that I started is Polar Pack by Plum Street Samplers, and the called for fabric was 36 count eucalyptus. And I actually had this one in my stash, but I forgot about it. Excuse me. So I wound up pulling out this fabric, and I'm not quite sure where it's from. I think it might be a Picture This Plus. I'm not sure. I struggled with this one a little bit because I think I got a phone call too, and I was talking on the phone, but that's my start. The fabric, it's very, very similar. It's a little more aqua blue-green rather than a eucalyptus blue-green. You can see the modeling on it. It's really, really pretty. So I'm excited to work a few things up in this one. That's how far I got. The little Faire snowflakes are a challenge. I really need to have some quiet time where I can actually concentrate. So there was a little bit of ripping out on that one too, just a little bit. And then these are the called for DMCs, and I did have one of the classic Colorworks. Actually, it only calls for this classic Colorwork and then Pea Pod, which I had to substitute out for a DMC. And Whitewash I substituted out. And mascara. Weeks Dye Works mascara I substituted out. But most of them were DMCs to begin with. The next one is a holiday, a Christmas start, and it's actually from the Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine. I subscribed to this years ago, or maybe I didn't subscribe to it. I picked up issues at Joann's or Michael's when I saw something that caught my eye. And then I went ahead during 2021. I think I enjoyed the fall Christmas issue of 2020 so much that I went ahead and thought, for I think $40 you get 4 issues a year, and I thought, why not? So I did. And actually I'm starting this little guy right here by Luminous Fiber Arts. It's called Merry and Bright. Let's see if I can find a good picture. All DMC. and she stitched it on 40 count Sparrow. This I started on a 32 count Evenweave parchment by Fabric Flare. And this is how much I got done. Again, I started with the border, and then I moved once I stitched that border. I think that was one whole length of floss that I did, 2 over 2. And then I started the candle base down here. I think I'm going to like it on the parchment. It gives it that old world charm. So I'm kind of excited to finish that one up. Again, a bird. My next one with the 12 by 12 is Red Bird Sampler by Brenda Gervais with that needle and thread. I loved this from the first time I saw it. You know, it's a sampler, birds, beautiful like aqua blues and reds and golds and greens. So I'm really excited to stitch this up. I might put my initials in here instead. We'll see when I get there. I started this on 32 count Belfast Linen by Zweigart, and I'm using the I think I'm using the called for flosses. I don't have all of the flosses. I did place an order on Christmas evening. I did do that, and they haven't come in yet. They're probably going to arrive this week sometime. But that's my start. I've just picked a color that I had, and I've, started, I like to start in the lower left corner. I'm sorry, lower right corner. And so that's what I did. It's lower right corner when it's facing me. So that's my start. So I've heard people say this one stitches up really, really quickly. So I'm kind of excited to get going on it a little bit more. See where we end up and how quickly we can get it done. And I think that's it. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, that's it for all of my 12 by 12 starts. Not too overwhelming. I think if I actually hit 12, I'd be a little overwhelmed right now, because I do have many, many WIPs going. So that's my thought. I did do a little bit of work on Burr, It's Cold Outside. When I first saw this pattern, I'm like, oh, it's cute, but I don't really need it. And then I saw it made up on a YouTuber's shelf, and I thought, oh, yeah, I need that one now. So I started that. The called for fabric is 40 count Vintage Country Mocha, and I had it, so that's what I'm using. And I'm using the called for flosses. I've had this kitted up for a while, and this is what I've done. A lot of white work. So I do this in sections. So I worked down here, and then I did the boots, and then I came in, I did this tree, and then I thought, oh, I might as well start on his body. So I did his body, and then I filled in up here, and I did the candy cane, and then I came over here and did a little bit more white over here, and then filled in this way. I think that's the only way I can do big chunks of color. Otherwise, I get too bored. So anyways, he's cute. I'm excited to have him going. And these are either all the called for flosses or the DMCs. I don't know, it's a kind of a mess. I'm really trying with these, rings, and I don't know that I want to put everything on a floss drop. That seems redundant to me a little bit at this point. That doesn't mean that I'll never do it. I might try it one time and fall in love with it and never go back. But that's my thought. Excuse me. So that was my my one WIP that I did, and now we're on to haul. I had some gift cards for Hobby Lobby, and apparently I was in a shopping mood. So I was there. I picked up all of my DMC number 57 skeins, and then I found some fabrics because I do have about 5 or 6 more charts that a couple of them I got for Christmas, and a couple of them I just kind of pulled and thought I want to start it, but my fabric order didn't make it on time. It still isn't here. So I thought if I could find fabric at Hobby Lobby that I could substitute with, maybe that would be okay. The problem, the colors were great, the thread count was great, but the cut of the fabric was not great. So when I did the calculator and calculated out on the count of fabric that I had and the number of stitches, you know, you can put those into a little calculator on your phone. I was too short on one end. Usually it wasn't too short altogether, but it was either not tall enough or not wide enough, and so I wound up not using any of it. But I bought and they're all by Zweigart. I got a 46 count oat Bristol linen. I don't know if you can see the color, and I'll take it out just because it's really pretty. Here's the label, and then here's the fabric color. It's, I mean, see, look, it's just a tiny little swatch of fabric, but it would be good for the smalls. It might be good for embroidery. I mean, I'm not saying I'll never ever do embroidery. I know the color's not. It's kind of like a light oatmeal color. So I bought that one. And then I picked up a needle punch cloth. I have done needle punching in the past, and I found all my things. And I thought, oh, I'd like to do that. So I bought some in white, and you know, it's just, this is a nice cut of fabric, and I could probably cross stitch on it if I wanted to, and it's just a nice basic white. So I'm excited when I find a punch needle that I just absolutely can't resist. I will work on this. So that was good to have that in my stash. And then I did 32 count Belfast linen in natural. So it's, you know, this really pretty darker oatmeal or a darker linen color. I like it a lot. And then I got the 46 count embroidery linen in ivory Bristol. So it's just a really, this fabric reminds me of like a men's pocket square, like handkerchief type fabric. It's really delicate and dainty, and it's got the linen marks through it. It's quite pretty. So we'll see if I pick up something to embroider, or if I cross stitch, or if it just sits in my stash, because that's a possibility too. And then I got 32 count white Belfast linen as well. So you can kind of see. I hope the color is showing up on this video. So that's it for fabric. I did also pick up for finishes. I've got a few bee projects. So I found these little bees that I thought might be cute in the middle of a bow, or glued onto a frame. They're stickers. They've got like a little puffy dot on the back to give, you know, some dimension off of whatever it is that you're doing. I might leave that. I might take it off. I don't know. We'll see, depending on how we use it. But the bees are really cute. And for $1.99 from the spring shop, I thought, yeah, I can afford $1.99. And then I found, can I open these? I found 2 of these in 2 different colorways, and they're wooden words, love, hugs, and kiss. And they both have, oh, and XOXO. They both have the white on the back, and then I got one with red and I got one with pink. A little more expensive, $3.49, but I thought these might be cute. On a project, you know, a fully finished object like a frame or something. Oh, wow. So you get 2 kiss, 2 of them, 2 kiss, 2 love. Can you see love? And 2 hugs. And of course the XOXO. And then in the red, I really like the red. Kiss and love. I can see these on the bottom of a picture frame, in the middle of a big bow, something like that. And then, of course, the hugs and the XOXO in white again. I'm thinking you could sand this and paint it a different color if you wanted to as well. That should be an easy fix. And then I bought patterns. Someone, and I don't remember who, I think it was a Seattle stitcher. She, I think, is stitching Summer Quakers by Rosewood Manor. And it's stunning. It's a sampler. It's beautiful. So I had to buy it. And of course, when you're, you know, in a shopping mood and they have all of the seasons, you buy all the seasons. So at least I do. So I have summer. It's beautiful. I think what caught my attention are the threads and the fabric. It's just right up my alley colorway wise. So I bought summer, and then autumn, equally as gorgeous. And then I bought winter. Not as full, but they look like little snowflakes to me falling down. And then of course you've got your cardinals. We don't have cardinals here in Southern California. But I look forward to traveling in, you know, the future and traveling to the parts of the country where they do have cardinals. It's a bird, so, you know, had to get it. And then spring. This one I'm not as wild about. It is not my favorite, but when you've got the other 3, you have to get the 4th one. I'm not sure if it just doesn't speak spring to me, so I don't know if I will swap out some colors or lighten the fabric. I haven't given much thought to it because it's going to be a long time before I get to this. So then I was excited and I opened up the pattern and I'm like, what kind of floss do they have? Maybe I can put that on my list to get the next time I'm there. It is Valdani 3-strand over dyed color fast threads, and they come in a box like this, and they're expensive. I have DMC, Weeks Dye Works, and Gentle Arts, and the classic Colorworks, and I was going to limit myself to that. I don't have a ton of storage, and I use those all the time. So I really didn't want to start investing in silks, and I certainly didn't want to have to get stuck buying a colorway for each of these. They're like $50 for the colorway for each sampler pattern. So I think what I'm going to do is, because it is an investment, when I'm ready to stitch, I think I'm going to start with the summer because that's the one that I fell in love with. I will purchase the thread pack, the threads, and I will work on that. And that will be that'll be my purchase. It'll be okay. It's a one-time $50 thing, expense. And then I will, when I get it all finished and I'm ready to start the next one, I'll purchase the threads for that if I need any additional. Some of these look like they might cross over a little bit, so I will have to pay attention to that. And if I can buy just the individual little, they look like balls of thread, and if I can do that, you can kind of see right here. If I can buy just one or two to fill in, I might do that. So I was very excited to get these. Didn't get it in time to start with the 12 by 12 like I had hoped, but nonetheless they are here. And then I did a start last night, but I actually kind of started it on the 1st, and let me explain. I don't know why. I just think it looks like it would be a lot of fun, and I can see it hanging in my little crafty space. I decided to participate and do the temperature cross stitch from Fat Quarter Shop. So every day you record the temperature, and I'll show you in a minute. You record the temperature, like the average for the day, and then based on where you live and your climate, and based on the temperature of the day, determines the color of the floss that you're going to stitch for that day. And each day it's literally 5 stitches, and it's a little cross. And they have symbols, but the symbols aren't for floss color. The symbols are for the month. So when you're looking at the pattern and you see the blue arrow, that's all January. And there's 31 little crosses for January. And then when you look at the pattern, you can put them wherever you want to. I'm starting on this side. Well, it's up here. I'm starting up here and working my way this way. So I think what I'll do is I will probably do, maybe it depends on the color of the floss, because I do want it to look a certain way, if possible, if the temperatures cooperate. But I'll probably do the top row and then come in and fill in for the rest of the month, is my thought. This one I started 3 times last night because it was 11:30 at night and I was tired, but I was excited and I wanted to get it done. So what you do, excuse me. What you do is they give you a page, and there's columns for every month and the day of the month. And then what you do is you just write your the average temperature, and then you can put the coordinating floss color. And the coordinating floss color, if you choose to use the colors that they sorted out for you, is here on this page. So it shows kind of a color representation of the actual color, the DMC. It's all DMC, the DMC color code. And then you get to pick if you're in the hot region, a cold region, or a wide range. And in Southern California, I would say we don't get really cold. I don't think the high has ever been in the 40s. And if it has, it's been like a day. We're usually in the 50s or 60s for winter. And then it gets hotter, and then maybe you get a dozen days throughout the summer where you're over 100, maybe. I don't know. So I did the hot range because I figured that color range is better for where I live. They offered a floss pack and the fabric, so I went ahead and I bought that. They do give you they tell you where to begin, and they give you a website that you can go to check your area for the weather. I use the app on my phone, and when I get home from work, I try to remember to check my phone and see what the high was for that day, and then I come over to the page and I just jot it down, and I jot the color of the floss down, and it's done. And then I decided that I needed to check mark when they're stitched. So the fabric that I got for it is 25 count Evenweave by Vintage Cloth by Lori Holt in Cloud. It is so soft and so nice to work with. It's white, so you gotta have clean hands. And then the floss pack is this. Did I have most of these colors? Probably. But again, just because it's easy, I went ahead and picked them up. I will always be able to use these colors. There will be other patterns out there that will utilize these colors. So I just picked up the thread pack, and then these are the colors, kind of messy. But these are the colors that I started with for January. And the first one was this kind of olivey green, 3347, and I'm like, not my favorite. And there are 3 days where this color needs to be used, but these two, I really like it. Really, really like it. So this is my start. The first week in January, and that's what the temperatures look like. I don't even know if this is going to do it justice. But I love it. Now I did have to start it over several times because I wasn't counting right. I was looking at the second half of the heart to start rather than the first half when I was going back and forth between the what color floss I needed. But I love it. I think I'm going to really enjoy this. It's going to take all year, and then I'm going to frame it depending on how big it is. I'll probably frame it. But yeah, that's what I did. That was my new start for yesterday. Oh, one more haul. I have wanted a cordless glue gun for a really long time, and so I decided to give this one a try. So we'll see how it works. I think it'll be great for easy for finishes and when I have to use hot glue to put things together and things like that. So I picked this up too. Okay, I think that's it. I think we're all done. I did get a lot done. I got a lot started because of the 12 by 12. Let's just be real. I'm looking forward to this week, working on a few of the other WIPs that I have that are they've been a little neglected. I'd like to focus on at least 1 or 2 of those this week. We'll see how that goes. We are going tonight to get a little shelving unit for my craft room so I can hopefully get the rest of this stuff put away. It's still, you know, I've got stuff up here that's kind of messy, and back there that's kind of messy, and behind you it's kind of messy. So I'd like to get that kind of wrapped up so I can start doing all of my crafting in here. Maybe not the stitching, because I do like to watch TV and sit in a comfy chair. But my paper crafting, scrapbooking, I would like to get back to that. So my goal is this weekend to get the shelving unit up and to put things away. So anyways, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. If you are a subscriber, thank you for coming back. Please hit the notification bell, like the video, tell your friends. If you're new to my channel, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell as well so you're notified when I am uploading a new video. I'm working on something else, and I don't want to talk about it too much, but I'm hoping to get that to a point this week where I can pop on maybe towards the end of the week and do a quick video on that. They're actually commissioned pieces that I've been working on for with felt, so they're really cute, and I really want to do just a separate video with those. So I'm hoping to get those done this week so that I can do a quick video and share that with you. So make sure you check back. Otherwise, have a great weekend. Stay safe if you are having weather where you're at. You know, be safe, stay warm, and we will see you next time. Thanks so much.